The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for over 5,000 years. Made up of 23 alien races, they thought they knew everything about space and life. Their giant meeting room hung in space on a station bigger than Earth's moon. Inside, seats rose up like in a sports arena, with each alien race sitting in their own section. Today's meeting was supposed to be boring. They were going to talk about trade routes and how to tax goods moving between worlds. But then Advisor Krill burst through the doors. His blue skin was pale, and all four of his arms waved wildly. "High Council," he shouted, "we found a new race." Finding new aliens wasn't that special. It happened every few hundred years. But something about how Krill acted made everyone sit up and pay attention. High Counselor Zreek leaned forward, his long neck stretched out from his round body. "Tell us about them," he said in a deep voice. Krill pressed a button on his wrist. A big screen lit up, showing a blue and green planet. "They call themselves humans," Krill said. "They live on this planet called Earth." The council members looked at the planet. It seemed nice, but nothing special. "And why is this news, Advisor?" asked Hulla, her 6 eyes blinking slowly. Like most council members, she was 10 times older than the oldest human. "Because," Krill said, "they just sent out their first faster-than-light ship." Now the room got noisy. A new race discovering faster-than-light travel was important. It meant they could join the wider galaxy. "Show us this ship," ordered Zreek. The screen changed to show a small spacecraft. It was about the size of a truck. Its metal sides looked bumpy and rough. Parts of it seemed to be held together with what looked like tape and wire. The room went silent for 3 seconds. Then someone in the back started to laugh. Soon, others joined in. Within moments, the whole council was laughing so hard that some members fell out of their seats. "That's not a spaceship," shouted one council member. "That's barely a toy." Zreek wiped tears from his eyes. "Is this some kind of joke, Advisor?" Krill shook his head. "No joke, High Counselor. This ship actually traveled faster than light. Our sensors picked it up near the edge of their solar system." "How?" asked Counselor Vex, still chuckling. "How did they manage that with such primitive technology?" Krill showed more pictures. "They made a warp bubble using materials we didn't think could work together. It's not efficient. It's not safe. But somehow, it works." More images appeared on screen, this time of the humans themselves. They stood on 2 legs, had 2 arms, and fur only on top of their heads. They looked soft and weak compared to most council races. "And these creatures built this ship?" asked Hulla. "Yes," said Krill. "And here's the interesting part. They went from discovering electricity to faster-than-light travel in less than 300 years. The laughter stopped. That was fast. Very fast. Most races took at least 1,000 years to make that jump. "That's impossible," said Vex. "Nevertheless, it's true," said Krill. "And there's more. They're still fighting wars against each other. They still burn fossil fuels. They haven't unified their planet. By all our rules, they're nowhere near ready for contact. And yet," he pointed at the small ship on the screen. Zreek stroked his chin with one of his 3 hands. "So what do you suggest, Advisor?" "Protocol says we should send a diplomatic team to assess them," Krill said. "But honestly, they're so far behind us that I'm not sure it's worth our time." Zreek nodded. "Send a small team. Tell them to be quick. These humans sound amusing, but I doubt they'll be joining us anytime soon." As the council members filed out, still smiling and shaking their heads, none of them wondered if they might be making a mistake. None of them thought that in just a few short years, these primitive humans would change the galaxy forever. And none of them knew that one day they would deeply regret their laughter. 3 months after the Galactic Council meeting, a small ship landed on Earth. It touched down in a large field where world leaders waited. The ship was smooth and silver, with no visible seams or joints. It made the best human spaceships look like toys. 5 aliens stepped out. They wore simple clothes and carried small devices on their wrists. The leader was Ambassador Linth from the Trellix race. She stood 7 feet tall with purple skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Behind her came representatives from 4 other council races. Humans clapped and cheered. Some cried with joy. First contact with aliens. It was the biggest day in human history. Ambassador Linth smiled politely, but she thought the humans looked strange and primitive. She had studied their history during the journey to Earth. So much fighting, so much waste, so much time spent on things that didn't matter. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council," she said. Her translator turned her musical language into English. "We are here to learn about your people." For 2 weeks, the aliens traveled around Earth. They saw great cities and poor villages. They watched humans work, play, and live. And everywhere they went, humans treated them like gods. "Why do they stare so much?" asked Grohl, one of the alien team. His rock-like skin made him look scary to some children. "They've never seen beings from another world," said Linth. "Remember, they thought they were alone in the universe until just a few years ago." The aliens visited human labs and factories. They watched how humans made things. They were surprised by some of it. "Look at this," said Tech, the team's science expert. He held up a small computer chip. "This is actually quite clever for their level." But mostly, the aliens felt sorry for humans. Earth was still dirty from old industries. Some countries still fought with others. And humans were so fragile. They got sick easily. They lived less than 100 years. They couldn't breathe underwater or survive extreme heat. On the last day, the human leaders held a big meeting with the aliens. The room was full of hope. The humans had prepared gifts and speeches. They had plans for joining the galactic community. Ambassador Linth stood to speak. The room went quiet. "People of Earth," she said, "thank you for your welcome. We have learned much about your kind." She paused, looking for the right words. "Your species has potential," she continued. "Your faster-than-light ship shows creativity, if not proper engineering. But the Galactic Council has standards for membership." The mood in the room started to change. People shifted in their seats. "You still fight wars among yourselves. You still damage your planet. Many of your people lack basic needs. These are signs of an immature species." The human leaders looked at each other. This was not what they had hoped to hear. "The Council's decision is that Earth is not ready for membership," Linth said. "We estimate you need at least 500 more years of development." The room erupted in voices, some angry, some pleading. "That's not fair," shouted one leader. "We've come so far so quickly." Linth held up her hand for quiet. "This is not a punishment. It is simply where you are in your development. We will return in 100 years to check your progress." After the meeting, as the aliens prepared to leave, a young human scientist approached Linth. "You think we're primitive," he said. "And maybe we are, but there's something you should know about humans." "What's that?" asked Linth, not really interested. "We don't like being told we can't do something," the scientist said. "It makes us try harder." Linth smiled the way an adult smiles at a child with big dreams. "That's a good attitude," she said. "You'll need it." As the alien ship rose into the sky, the human leaders gathered. 500 years, said one. "They think it will take us 500 years. "We'll show them," said another. "We'll be ready much sooner." What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had always done their best work when someone told them something was impossible. And the Council had just challenged the entire human race. The aliens had made a big mistake. They just didn't know it yet. 10 years passed. The Galactic Council forgot about Earth. With thousands of worlds to manage, one small planet of primitive beings didn't matter much. Then one day, alarms went off at the edge of Council space. Sensors detected a ship coming out of faster-than-light travel. It wasn't a Council ship. It wasn't from any known race. "Show me," ordered Defense Commander Frill. His scaled skin rippled with concern. The screen lit up. The ship was smooth and sleek. It was black with blue lights running along its sides. It was 10 times bigger than the tiny human ship from before. Is that? Vril couldn't finish his sentence. Yes, Commander, said his assistant. It's from Earth. The council quickly called an emergency meeting. This wasn't supposed to happen. Humans weren't supposed to build ships like this for hundreds of years. High Counselor Zreek looked troubled. How is this possible? Ambassador Lint's reports said they were primitive. That was 10 years ago, said Advisor Krill. It seems they've been busy. The human ship sent a message. They wanted to talk. The council had no choice but to invite them to the station. 3 humans walked into the council chamber. They wore simple blue uniforms. They didn't look nervous or impressed by the Grand Room or the powerful aliens. We bring greetings from Earth, said the leader, a woman with dark skin and sharp eyes. I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Alliance. Earth Alliance. The council members looked at each other in confusion. There had been no alliance when they visited. Earth had been divided into many countries. We are surprised to see you, said Zreek carefully, and in such an advanced ship. Captain Chen smiled. Yes, we've made some progress since your visit. Some progress was an understatement. The council's experts had studied the human ship. Its technology was still behind council standards, but not by much. It was a leap that should have taken centuries. We've also established colonies on Mars and Europa in our home system, Captain Chen continued. And we've started building a settlement in the Alpha Centauri system. The council chamber filled with shocked whispers. Colonizing another star system was a huge step. How did you advance so quickly? Asked Counselor Tulla, her 6 eyes wide with surprise. Your visit changed everything, said Captain Chen. Before, our world was divided. After you left, our leaders realized we needed to work together. All countries started sharing knowledge instead of keeping secrets. Another human stepped forward. We also studied the energy readings from your ship while it was on Earth. That helped us improve our technology. The council members shifted uncomfortably. They hadn't thought the humans would be able to do that. And, added Captain Chen, you told us we weren't good enough. There's nothing humans like better than proving someone wrong. Zreek stood up. He was not happy. Whatever progress you've made, you're still not ready for council membership. We're not asking to join, said Captain Chen calmly. We're just letting you know we're out here now. We're exploring. We're learning. We're growing. And what do you want from us? Asked Zreek. Nothing, said Captain Chen. We can manage on our own. After the humans left, the council argued for hours. We need to slow them down, said one member. They're advancing too fast. How? Asked another. We can't interfere with their development. Maybe we should help them instead, suggested Tulla. Guide them before they make mistakes. Zreek shook his head. No, we'll watch them for now. They're still far behind us in many ways. They're not a threat. But that night, Zreek couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the determined look in the human captain's eyes. For the first time in his long life, he wondered if the council had misjudged a species. Far away, on their newly built space station orbiting Jupiter, human leaders made plans. They wouldn't wait 100 years for the council to check on them again. They would be ready much sooner. And they were just getting started. 20 years passed. The Earth Alliance grew stronger. Humans now had colonies in 5 star systems. Their ships were faster and better armed. Earth itself had changed too. The air was cleaner. The oceans were healing. People had enough food and homes. The Galactic Council kept watching the humans with worry, but they had bigger problems now. A new alien race called the Vrexel had appeared at the edge of Council space. They came from another galaxy. They were tall with red skin and 4 arms. Their ships were black and shaped like sharp knives. The Vrexel didn't want to talk. They attacked without warning. First, they hit a small council outpost. All 50 aliens there died. Then they attacked a mining colony. 600 more died. "We must stop them," said High Counselor Zreek in an emergency meeting. His 3 hands shook with anger and fear. "Our defense ships are on the way," said Commander Vril. "But it will take time to gather enough force." The Council hadn't fought a real war in over 1,000 years. They had forgotten how. The Vrexil attacked 2 more worlds. Thousands died. Millions ran away in fear. During another emergency meeting, a human woman stood up. She wore the blue uniform of the Earth Alliance. Her name was Admiral Sarah Wells. She had been on the Council station as an observer for 3 years. "We can help," she said simply. The Council members all turned to look at her. "This is not your concern," said Councillor Tulla. "This is Council business." "People are dying," said Admiral Wells. "That makes it everyone's concern." High Counselor Zreek was desperate. His people were not warriors. "What help can you offer?" he asked. "The Earth Alliance has a battle fleet near here," said Admiral Wells. 30 ships. They can be at the front lines in 2 days. The Council members looked at each other in shock. Humans had a battle fleet. Why did a young race need so many warships? "We've had to protect our colonies," Admiral Wells explained, seeing their surprise. "Space is dangerous." Zreek didn't like it. Accepting help from humans felt wrong. But more Council citizens would die while they argued. "We accept your help," he said finally. 2 days later, 30 human ships arrived at the front lines. The Council commanders were not impressed. The human ships were smaller than Council ships. Their weapons seemed less powerful. "These won't last long against the Vrexil," one commander said. But when the Vrexil attacked again, everyone got a surprise. The human ships didn't fight like Council ships. They didn't stay in neat lines. They moved fast and attacked from all directions. They focused their fire on one Vrexil ship at a time. "What are they doing?" asked a Council commander, watching the battle from a safe distance. "They're fighting like they mean to win," said his assistant. 5 human ships were destroyed in the battle, but they took down 8 Vrexil ships. It was the first time anyone had beaten the Vrexil. After the battle, Admiral Wells met with the Council commanders. "We need to know more about the enemy," she said. "How they think, how their ships work, what they want." The Council commanders looked confused. "Why does that matter?" one asked. "We just need bigger weapons." Admiral Wells shook her head. "In war, knowledge is as important as weapons. Humans know this well." That made the aliens uncomfortable. Humans knew about war because they had fought so many wars against each other. The Council saw this as proof that humans were primitive. But now, that experience was exactly what they needed. "We have more ships coming," said Admiral Wells, "and we're bringing our best warriors and thinkers." For the first time, the Council was truly glad that humans existed. They were still strange and moved too quickly, but they knew how to fight. And right now, fighting was what the galaxy needed. The Vrexil were about to learn that laughing at humans was a very bad idea. 2 months into the war with the Vrexil, things were not going well. The Council had lost 12 worlds. Millions of aliens had died. The Vrexil ships kept coming. But now, the main human fleet had arrived. 150 ships, big and small, gathered at the edge of Council space. The Council leaders came to see them. "I don't understand," said Councillor Tulla as she looked at the human ships on the screen. "These ships all look different." She was right. Some human ships were long and thin. Others were round. Some had big guns on the outside. Others seemed to have no weapons at all. Admiral Wells smiled. "Each ship is made for a special job. We don't believe in making them all the same." The Council leaders were confused. In their fleet, all ships of the same type looked exactly the same. It was efficient. It made sense. But humans, it seemed, had other ideas. When the human fleet went into battle, the Council watched with worry. Human ships didn't follow the careful battle plans that Council commanders made. They changed their plans as they fought. Some ships even seemed to act on their own. "This is chaos," shouted Commander Frill. "They'll all be killed." But something strange happened. The human ships started winning. They attacked in ways the Vrexel didn't expect. They protected each other. When one tactic didn't work, they quickly tried another. After the battle, only 6 human ships had been destroyed. 22 Vrexel ships were gone. "How?" asked Zreek when he met with Admiral Wells. "How did you do that?" "Humans are good at adapting," she said. "We learn fast. We try new things. And most importantly, we work well under pressure." The council began to study the humans more closely. They watched how human ship captains made quick decisions without asking for permission. They saw how human crews fixed battle damage while still fighting. They noticed how humans never gave up, even when things looked bad. "They're not afraid," said Tulla with wonder. "They face death so calmly." "That's not true," said a human officer who overheard her. "We're very afraid, but we keep fighting anyway. That's what courage is." The council races had forgotten about courage. They had lived in peace for so long that they didn't know how to face danger anymore. The human fleet pushed the Vrexel back. They freed 2 council worlds that had been taken. But then came bad news. The council's spies found out that the Vrexel had a much bigger fleet coming, 3 times bigger than anything they had seen so far. "We can't win against that many ships," said Commander Frill, "even with human help." Admiral Wells didn't look worried. "Numbers aren't everything," she said. "We need better technology, better weapons." "That would take years to develop," said Zreek. "Not if we work together," said Admiral Wells. "Human scientists and engineers, council scientists and engineers, together." The council had never shared their advanced technology with a young race before. It was against their rules. But these were desperate times. "What do you have in mind?" asked Zreek. "Your people have amazing shield technology," said Wells. "But your weapons are old. Humans have made big progress with weapons. If we combine your shields with our weapons." The council debated for 3 days. Many members didn't trust humans with advanced technology. What if they used it against the council later? But in the end, they had no choice. The Vrexel were coming, and the council would fall without help. "We agree," said Zreek finally. "Our scientists will work with yours." As human and alien scientists began working together, something unexpected happened. They started to respect each other. The council scientists were amazed by human creativity. The human scientists were impressed by council knowledge. And both sides realized the same thing. Together, they might be able to save the galaxy. For the first time, the council didn't just need humans. They were starting to like them. The work between human and council scientists moved quickly. In just 1 month, they created new weapons and shields that were better than anything either group had made before. "This is amazing," said Dr. Carrijong, the lead human scientist. She held up a small device that glowed with blue light. "Your crystal technology makes our energy weapons twice as powerful." Telex, the council's chief engineer, nodded. His tentacles moved with excitement. "And your targeting systems are brilliant. So simple, but so effective." The first ship to get the new technology was the Earth Alliance flagship, the Unity. It was a big ship with a crew of 300 humans. Captain Miguel Rodriguez stood on the bridge, looking at the new weapons. "Will they work?" he asked Admiral Wells. "They better," she said. "The Vrexel main fleet will be here in 3 days." All across council space, ships were being upgraded with the new technology. Human mechanics worked side by side with council engineers. They didn't always understand each other's languages, but they understood machines. On the 3rd day, the Vrexel fleet arrived. It was huge, over 500 ships. They came out of faster-than-light travel near a council world called Prel. 2 million people lived there. The combined human and council fleet waited for them. They had only 200 ships, but each one now had the new weapons and shields. "Remember the plan?" Admiral Wells told all ship captains before the battle, "Hit them hard and fast. Don't let them group together." The battle began. The Vrexel ships moved forward in tight groups, just as they had done before. They expected an easy win because they had more ships. They were wrong. When the Vrexel fired their weapons, the new shields on the human and council ships held strong. And when the human and council ships fired back, their weapons cut through the Vrexel shields like they weren't even there. "It's working," shouted Captain Rodriguez as his ship destroyed 2 Vrexel ships with a single shot. The Vrexel tried to change their plans, but they were too slow. Human captains made quick decisions. Council captains, who had watched and learned from the humans, now did the same. By the end of the day, 300 Vrexel ships had been destroyed. The rest ran away. The combined fleet had lost only 22 ships. It was a huge victory. On the council station, aliens cheered and celebrated. For the first time, they believed they might win this war. High Counselor Drake called a special meeting. Admiral Wells and other human leaders were invited. "Today, we did something great together," said Drake. "But the war is not over. The Vrexel will be back with more ships." "We'll be ready," said Admiral Wells. "Our factories are building more ships with the new technology." "As are ours," said Drake. "But there is another matter to discuss." He looked around at the council members. "Many of us have changed our minds about humans." Counselor Tulla stood up. "When we first met humans, we laughed at them. We thought they were primitive and slow. We were wrong." Murmurs of agreement filled the room. "Humans are young compared to us," Tulla continued, "but they are brave. They learn quickly, and they have helped us when we needed it most." Admiral Wells listened carefully. She hadn't expected this. "Therefore," said Drake, "I propose that we offer humans a special status. Not full council membership yet, but a partnership, with all the rights to trade, settle new worlds, and share technology." The council voted. The result was clear, 21 for, 2 against. "We accept," said Admiral Wells with a smile. "And we look forward to fighting beside you until the Vrexel are defeated." As the meeting ended, a young council member approached Admiral Wells. "I have a question," he said. "Why did you help us, after we laughed at you and said you weren't ready?" Admiral Wells thought for a moment. "Because that's what humans do," she said finally. "We help others in need, even if they don't always treat us well. And besides," she added with a smile, "we wanted to prove you wrong." The council member blinked in surprise. Then he laughed. "Well, you certainly did that." As news of the partnership spread, humans and council races began to work even more closely together. And for the first time, they started to see each other not as strange aliens, but as friends. 6 months passed. The war with the Vrexel continued, but now the human and council ships were winning most battles. The Vrexel were pushed back to the edge of council space. But the Vrexel were not done yet. They gathered their remaining ships for one big attack. Their target was the Council's main food production planet, Eridus. If they destroyed it, billions across the galaxy would starve. The human and Council fleet raced to defend Eridus. Admiral Wells was on the flagship Unity with Captain Rodriguez. They had fought many battles together now. "This will be the hardest fight yet," said Admiral Wells to her captains over the comm system. "The Vrexel are desperate. They will fight to the end." The Vrexel fleet was smaller now, only about 200 ships, but they had a new weapon. The big ship in the middle of their fleet carried a planet killer bomb. If it reached Eridus, the whole planet would die. "We must stop that ship at all costs," said High Counselor Drake from the council station. The battle began at dawn. The human and council ships formed a line in front of Eridus. The Vrexel came straight at them, trying to break through. For hours, the two sides fought. Ships exploded. Good people died. But the human and council fleet held the line. Then something went wrong. A group of Vrexel ships managed to create a gap in the defense. The big ship with the planet killer bomb moved toward this gap. "They're breaking through," shouted Captain Rodriguez. "We need to close that gap." Admiral Wells looked at the battle map. Only one ship was close enough to stop the big Vrexel ship, the Unity itself. But it would mean flying directly into the Vrexel fleet. "Captain," she said to Rodriguez, "take us into that gap." "But Admiral," said Rodriguez, "there are too many enemy ships. We won't survive." Admiral Wells nodded. She knew this. "Sometimes," she said, "we have to make hard choices to save others." Captain Rodriguez understood. He gave the order, and the Unity turned toward the gap. The big human ship flew straight at the Vrexel fleet. Its guns fired nonstop. Its shields took hit after hit. On the council station, High Counselor Zreek watched with fear. "What are they doing?" he asked. "They're going to be destroyed." "They're sacrificing themselves," said Counselor Tulla softly, "to save Eridas." The Unity pushed forward, even as its shields failed and its hull was damaged. It got closer and closer to the big Vrexel ship with the bomb. Captain Rodriguez sent one last message to the fleet. "Remember Earth. Remember what humans stand for." Then the Unity rammed the Vrexel ship at full speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of light so bright that sensors on all other ships went dark for a moment. When the light faded, both ships were gone. The planet killer bomb had been destroyed before it could be used. The rest of the human and council fleet, inspired by the Unity's sacrifice, fought harder than ever. Within hours, the remaining Vrexel ships were either destroyed or running away. Eridas was saved, but at a terrible cost. On the council station, all aliens stood in silence. Admiral Wells, Captain Rodriguez, and the entire crew of the Unity, 300 humans, had given their lives to save billions of aliens they had never met. High Counselor Zreek's voice shook as he spoke to the council. "For thousands of years, we thought we were the wisest beings in the galaxy. We looked down on younger races. We laughed at humans when we first met them." Tears fell from his 3 eyes. "Today, humans taught us the true meaning of wisdom. They showed us that real greatness isn't about how old you are or how advanced your technology is. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice for others." The council made a decision that day. They would build a monument to the Unity and its crew. It would stand forever on Eridas, to remind everyone of what humans had done. And no one in the council would ever laugh at humans again. 1 month after the battle at Eridas, the war with the Vrexel ended. After losing their planet killer bomb and many ships, the Vrexel asked for peace. They left council space and promised never to return. On Earth, people mourned the loss of the Unity and its brave crew. But they also felt proud. Humans had shown the galaxy what they could do. The Galactic Council called a special meeting. For the first time ever, human leaders were invited to sit at the main table, not just watch from the side. President Sophia Chen of the Earth Alliance entered the Grand Council chamber. With her came generals, scientists, and diplomats. They wore formal blue uniforms with a new patch, a picture of the Unity surrounded by stars. High Counselor Zreek stood to greet them. All council members stood too. This had never happened before for any visiting race. "We welcome our human friends," said Zreek. His voice was full of respect. "Without you, many of us would not be here today." President Chen nodded. "We are honored to be here, High Counselor." The meeting began. Zreek spoke first. "For 5,000 years, this council has followed one rule above all others. Only races that meet certain standards can join. These standards were meant to keep peace and order." He paused, looking around the room. "But the war with the Vrexel taught us something important. Our standards missed what truly matters. They measured age and technology, but not courage or friendship or sacrifice." Many council members nodded in agreement. "Therefore," continued Zreek, "I propose something that has never been done before. I propose that humans be invited to join the Galactic Council as full members, effective immediately." The room filled with voices. Some agreed loudly. A few objected. "They are still too young. said one council member. They have been in space for less than a century. Yet they saved us all, replied Councillor Tulla. Age is just a number. Wisdom comes from experience, not years. The debate went on for hours. President Chen and the human team listened quietly. They did not argue or push. They showed patience that surprised many council members. Finally, it was time to vote. One by one, each council member pressed a button on their desk. Green for yes, red for no. The final tally appeared on the big screen. 19-4, 4 against. The humans would join the council. President Chen stood to speak. The room went silent. Thank you for this honor, she said. When your ships first came to Earth, you told us we were not ready. You said we needed 500 more years. She smiled slightly. It took us less than 50 years to prove you wrong. Not because we wanted to show off, but because we had to. Because the galaxy needed us. Humans are not perfect, she continued. We make mistakes. We sometimes act before we think, but we learn quickly, and we never give up on our friends. She looked at each council member. We accept your invitation. Earth will join the Galactic Council. We will work with all races to keep peace and help others grow. This is our promise to you. After the meeting, Zreek took President Chen to a special room. Inside was a beautiful model of the Unity made of crystal and light. This will be the center of the monument on Eridus, he said. It will remind everyone of human courage for thousands of years. President Chen touched the model gently. They would be proud, she said, not of the monument, but of the peace they helped create. As they left the room, Zreek asked a question that had been on his mind. When we first met humans, we laughed at you. We treated you as lesser beings. How can you forgive that so easily? President Chen thought for a moment. Holding grudges takes energy we could use for building better things, she said. Besides, you've learned from your mistake. That's all anyone can ask. Zreek realized that the council had much more to learn from humans than he had ever imagined. 100 years passed since humans joined the Galactic Council. The galaxy changed in ways no one expected. On the council station, a celebration was taking place. The huge meeting room was filled with beings from 100 worlds. Some had scales, some had tentacles, some had wings, and many were humans. In the center of the room stood a very old alien. His skin was wrinkled, and his 3 hands shook slightly. This was Zreek, once High Counselor, now just a witness to history. Next to him stood a human woman in her 40s. She had dark skin and bright eyes. Her name was Maya Rodriguez, great-granddaughter of Captain Rodriguez, who died on the Unity. I never thought I would live to see this day, said Zreek. Which day is that? Asked Maya with a smile. She was the current Earth ambassador to the Council. The day when humans lead the way for us all, said Zreek. He wasn't wrong. In just 100 years, humans had changed everything. After joining the Council, humans shared their ideas freely. They helped build better ships. They created new medicines. They found ways to grow food on planets that were once thought too harsh for crops. But their biggest gift was how they solved problems. Humans think differently, Councillor Tulla once said. When we see a wall, we go around it. When humans see a wall, they find 10 ways to go through it. Human colonies spread across the galaxy, but they did not push others aside. Instead, they invited other races to join them. Mixed cities grew where many species lived together. Children of different races played together and learned from each other. The Council itself changed. In the past, it was slow to make decisions. Debates could last for years. Humans showed them how to act more quickly when needed. Time matters. Human Council members often said, "We can't wait forever to solve problems." The biggest change came when the Council found 15 new young races. In the past, they would have been told to wait hundreds of years before joining. But humans remembered how they had been treated. They pushed for a new way. Don't tell them they're not ready, said Human Counselor Jackson Lai. Invite them to learn with us. Let them grow as part of the community, not apart from it. The new species program was created. Young races joined as junior members. They got help in teaching, not just rules and waiting. Now, at the celebration, Zreek watched as human High Counselor Amara Okafor stood to speak. She was the first human to lead the entire council. 100 years ago, two great traditions met, she said. The ancient wisdom of the council and the young energy of Earth. Apart, each was incomplete. Together, we found balance. She raised her glass. To the next 100 years of working together. The room filled with cheers. Zreek watched with tears in his eyes. Maya noticed. "Are you okay, Zreek?" she asked gently. "I was there," he said quietly. "I was there when the council first saw humans. I laughed at your little ship held together with tape. I voted to make you wait 500 years. He shook his head. "It was the worst mistake of my life." Maya put her hand on his shoulder. "It wasn't a mistake," she said. "It was part of our journey together. If you had welcomed us right away, we might never have worked so hard to prove ourselves." Zreek looked around the room. Humans and aliens talked and laughed together like old friends. Species that once feared each other now worked side by side. "Do you know what I think?" said Maya. "I think the universe knew what it was doing. It brought us together at exactly the right time." Zreek smiled. "Perhaps you're right. Perhaps the council needed humans as much as humans needed the council." As the celebration continued around them, Zreek thought about how far they had all come. From laughter to respect, from strangers to family. And he knew that whatever challenges the future might bring, they would face them together.